Welcome to the Get Your Black Belt in Proactive Wellness podcast, where we talk about how to expand perception, slow down aging, increase energy, strengthen immunity, and create an overall higher quality of life, all naturally. Here is your host, James T. Griffin.
Greetings. My name is James T. Griffin, and welcome to episode 1 of the Get Your Black Belt in Proactive Wellness podcast. So this podcast is based upon the 7 portals of the Proactive Wellness system that are outlined in my book, Get Your Black Belt in Proactive Wellness, First Degree. So these 7 portals of the Proactive Wellness system are what we need to know and apply into our lives on a very regular basis to ensure we are slowing down aging, increasing energy, strengthening immunity, accelerating physical repair and regeneration, regulating our emotional energy, and expanding and upgrading our perception. So this ties into portal 1 of the Proactive Wellness system, and that is perception. Perception is portal 1 of the Proactive Wellness system because perception drives and creates our reality, either consciously or unconsciously. Perception works very much like an operating system of a computer. It can be upgraded, but it can also be hacked. So in this podcast, in upcoming episodes, you're going to learn the outside influences that attempt to hack our operating system of perception. And you can count on the Get Your Black Belt and Proactive Wellness podcast and the Proactive Wellness system to help you to continually expand and upgrade the power of your perception. So when it comes to perception, we have to stop being unconscious of and reactive with it and start being very conscious of it and proactive with it to create ourselves the highest possible quality of life. So portal 1 of the Proactive Wellness system is perception. Portal 2 of the Proactive Wellness system is the placebo effect 2.0. Many of us have heard of the placebo effect, and where have we heard of it? Pharmaceutical drug trials. Many of us are aware that in the early trials of a pharmaceutical drug, the drug is always tested against a placebo. So what is a placebo? A placebo usually comes in the form of a sugar pill. This is something that is not supposed to have any chemical reaction with our body, with our physical being to promote any physical repair or regeneration. So in a pharmaceutical drug trial, nobody knows if they're getting the drug or if they're getting the placebo. What's really interesting about the placebo group is there's always some percentage of the placebo group who take the placebo and they experience some physical repair or regeneration as if they're taking some form of medicine or some form of remedy. Why is this happening? So the reason why it's happening is that our physical being, our human body, our physical being, and by the way, in the Proactive Wellness system, we don't call it the human body, we call it the physical being, because we're trying to create as many new terms as possible, because when we start bringing in new terms, we become more aware of what we're talking about. And you'll learn more about that as time goes on. So the physical being has an intelligence that we communicate with either unconsciously or consciously. And our beliefs play a very important role with communicating with the intelligence of our physical being. So when someone is in a pharmaceutical drug trial, they're in the placebo group, they take a placebo and they experience some sort of repair or regeneration, it is because on an unconscious level, they were communicating with the intelligence of their physical being and it activated or accelerated the repair and regeneration function. So the placebo effect is an unconscious process. The placebo effect 2.0, on the other hand, is a very conscious process. We are aware that the physical being has an intelligence that we can communicate with. So the placebo effect 2.0 is actually communicating with the intelligence of our physical being at a high level of conscious awareness. We're directly aware of it and we're directly communicating with it, knowing that we can influence its ability to repair and regenerate. We can accelerate it or we can activate it when it has been turned off for some given reason. So when it comes to the intelligence of the physical being, we have to stop being unconscious of and reactive with it and start being conscious of and proactive with it. And in the Get Your Black Belt and Proactive Wellness podcast, in upcoming episodes, you're going to learn how to consciously communicate with the intelligence of your physical being to either activate the physical repair regeneration process if it's not activated, or accelerate it if it's too slow. So portal 2 of the Proactive Wellness system is the placebo effect 2.0. Next, portal 3 is emotional energy. It's not emotions, it's emotional energy. So emotional energy is not two separate words. There's a dash between the words emotional and energy. So it's emotional energy, not two words, it's one new term. So the reason why the proactive wellness system uses the term emotional energy is because we acknowledge that what we feel on the inside, we broadcast this emotional energy and we affect the entire world around us. We affect other human life, animal life, plant life, food, and even water. And this has all been proven and validated. So many are unconscious of their emotional energy and they feel like life happens to them. And their emotional energy is based upon all what happens to them in their lives. So it is time for us to stop being reactive and unconscious of our emotional energy and start to be proactive with and very conscious of our emotional energy. Because deep down, our emotional energy is more by choice and less by chance. And learning to regulate our emotional energy is one of the most important skills that we can develop here in the earth realm, having a human physical experience. So again, I have to emphasize it's one of the most important skills that we can develop. So some of the clients I've seen over the years who came to me to reduce anxiety, I didn't focus on the anxiety, I focused on educating and training them to regulate and release their emotional energy, both their emotional energy and any emotional energy they may have absorbed from someone in their life and they weren't aware of it. So this is a very deep well, and we're going to be sharing some strategies on how you can become more conscious of and proactive with your emotional energy at upcoming Get Your Black Belt in Proactive Wellness podcast episodes. So portal 3 of the Proactive Wellness system is emotional energy. Portal 4 of the Proactive Wellness system is bioenergy. So it's bio-energy, another new term. So bioenergy is a general term, and there are different types and expressions of bioenergy to be aware of. So one of those expressions of bioenergy is what's referred to in some Chinese dialects as qi. And in English, the most accurate description of qi is bioelectricity. So this qi or bioelectricity flows throughout the meridian system within our physical being. If you've ever had acupuncture before or ever had traditional Chinese medicine, they focus on primarily the meridian system as it relates to our major organs. Sometimes this bioelectricity or this qi can become blocked or slowed down and affects all the other systems within the physical being. So there are certain ways that we can be more proactive with our bioenergy overall. So the qi is just one expression of that. There's other ones to talk about, of course. Like every system within our physical being, cardiovascular system, lymphatic system, respiratory system, they all have their own form of bioenergy, which is allowing them to function. So as time goes on in upcoming episodes, you're going to learn how to be more conscious of and proactive with your bioenergy. And this is the main portal in the Proactive Wellness system that'll help you to slow down your cellular aging and increase your available bioenergy. So lots to come on the concept of bioenergy, which is portal 4 of the Proactive Wellness system. Portal 5 of the Proactive Wellness system is relational energy, another term, relational-energy. Not two separate words, again, a new term. So in every relationship we have, we exchange energy. So let it be a romantic partner, maybe a sibling, a parent, a child, a coworker. It doesn't matter what the role is. We're always exchanging energy. And there's 3 different elements of relational energy. One of those elements is emotional energy, but there's other elements that you'll be learning about in the Proactive Wellness system. So we have to be more conscious of and proactive with our relational energy to create the most harmony in all of our relationships, because our relationships in truth is our most valuable asset that we have here in the earth realm. Physical possessions are nice. However, it's our relationships, which are our most important investment to make. And every relationship we have with everyone else is to some degree a reflection of the relationship we have with ourselves, to some degree, of course. So when it comes to being conscious of and proactive with relational energy, the primary focus is to improve the relationship we have with ourselves. And as a byproduct, the other relationships in our lives improve. So it's time for us to be more conscious of and proactive with our relational energy, which you'll learn more about in upcoming episodes of the Get Your Black Belt in Proactive Wellness podcast. Next, portal 6 of the Proactive Wellness system is environmental energy, another new term, environmental-energy. So when it comes to environmental energy, there are many branches to this tree. Many, when they think of environment, they think of trees like what I have behind me. And this is a real picture that I took of a real forest, by the way. So I love to have it as my background because the next best thing to being in nature is simulated nature. So many think of oceans, they think of forests, they think of trees. That is one expression of environmental energy, but not the only one. So we also have our personal environmental energy. So the environments within our home, our workspace, our offices, and even our automobiles. So energy flows throughout environmental energy. And if there's a lot of clutter and disorganization in our personal environments, it is more challenging to regulate our emotional energy. It's more challenging to optimize our bioenergy, and it's more challenging to create more harmony within our relational energy. So our environmental energy is a two-way street. Our energy influences it, and it influences our personal energy field. So when it comes to our personal environments of environmental energy, there's certain things we can reduce or eliminate to improve the flow of our environmental energy. And there's certain things we can add or increase to improve the flow of our environmental energy. So in upcoming podcast episodes, you're going to learn how to be more conscious of and proactive with your personal environmental energy to improve your overall quality of life. Many are very unconscious of and reactive with their environmental energy. Some examples of that, you might have seen some of those shows of hoarding, where you look and watch and you think to yourself, how can they possibly live in such an environment? So there's a lot of stagnant energy in those environments, and that's putting it lightly. So it's really important that we have free-flowing energy within our environmental energy. And there are other elements of environmental energy, such as quantum physics, which is a very deep well, which we'll be exploring in upcoming episodes. So again, you're going to learn more about Portal 6 environmental energy in upcoming podcast episodes. Portal 7, the last portal of the proactive wellness system, is nutrition and detoxification. A lot of evidence has been emerging over the past few decades that the quality of our nutrition plays not an indirect role, but a direct role in how well our physical being functions and how well it is able to operate, in the level of energy, in its ability to repair and regenerate, in its ability to slow down aging, and as well as detoxification. We are exposed to many more toxins in our environment, in our food, in our water than we ever have in our history. So it's nothing to be afraid of. As long as we're proactive with and conscious of detoxification, we can stay ahead of the curve. So when it comes to nutrition and detoxification, there's a lot to learn about this. However, in upcoming podcast episodes, you're going to learn how to be more conscious of and proactive with your personal nutrition and detoxification to ensure you are maximizing your quality of life, which means slowing down aging, increasing energy, strengthening immunity, and the benefits go on and on. So the quick recap of the 7 portals of the proactive wellness system: 1, perception; 2, the placebo effect 2.0; 3, emotional energy; 4, bioenergy; 5, relational energy; 6, environmental energy; and 7, nutrition and detoxification. So in upcoming episodes of the Get Your Black Belt in Proactive Wellness podcast, we're going to be doing a deeper dive into these portals, but more importantly, some tips, some tools, and strategies on how you can start immediately to be more proactive and conscious with each one of these portals. Because remember, as you are become more conscious of and proactive with these portals, you will slow down your aging, you will increase your energy, strengthen immunity, regulate your emotional energy more efficiently. You will accelerate physical repair and regeneration, and of course, expand and upgrade the power of your perception. So coming up next in episode 2 of the Get Your Black Belt in Proactive Wellness podcast, we are going to be focusing on Portal 1, perception, and you're going to get a few tools and strategies in how you can become more conscious of and proactive with the power of your perception. Because remember, perception drives and creates our reality, either consciously or unconsciously. And I'm going to help you to create, with the power of your perception, more consciously. So thanks for tuning in to episode 1 of the Get Your Black Belt in Proactive Wellness podcast. My name is James T. Griffin. And if you want to go into a much deeper dive into the proactive wellness system, I encourage you to invest in the book, Get Your Black Belt in Proactive Wellness, First Degree. And as time goes on, that is going to be a continuing book series, by the way. So I'm going to release the 2nd degree and 3rd degree as time goes on. And I recently re-released the First Degree, but the 2nd edition. There was important elements I wanted to add to the portals before we moved on to Get Your Black Belt in Proactive Wellness 2nd Degree. And I am in process of creating the Get Your Black Belt in Proactive Wellness, the course, which is really going to take this to a much higher level in regards to comprehension and application. So thanks again for tuning in. Create yourself a very beautiful day, and I will see you at the next episode.
Thanks so much for listening. For more information about James and the Proactive Wellness System, go to www.aheadofthecurvewellness.com. Check back weekly for new episodes of the Get Your Black Belt in Proactive Wellness podcast. Until next time, create yourself a beautiful rest of your week.